right, let's get started. So good morning, my sweets. So happy that I get to visit with you guys in your living rooms from my yoga room every day. So I heard yesterday that they opened the Florida beaches, which is interesting. It's still confusing. So the same day they open the beaches, they make the announcements they're going to close public school for the rest of the year, and all Publix employees now have to wear masks. Crazy times, right? And it's in those crazy times we need meditation, we need breath work, we need yoga. And so you guys keep signing in. I really appreciate that, so that you can tell me how you're doing. So 2 weeks ago, we did meditation. We did a nice lead meditation. And lead meditation is really great when you don't have your own meditation and you're not really sure where the mind should go, or you just want someone else to take you there. And then last week we worked on pranayama. So we worked on controlling our breath. All of those things are helping us get ready for our own meditation, for sitting still and keeping the mind focused. And sometimes that can be really hard. Even doing our yoga practice, moving as quickly as we can, our brain is somewhere else. Well, there's thousands of hand shapes and modifications that you can do that can activate energy centers in the body. They can help bring concentration or both. And we're going to talk about a couple of those. Now, like I said, there are thousands, and depending on where you practice, like yoga in India has some. If you're practicing Chinese medicine or even Kung Fu or other lineages, they have separate ones. But all of them agree that we have energy centers that run in our body, the meridians. And we talked about that when we talked about the chakra class we did a couple of days ago. That nerve endings and blood flow and energy flows through our body, and they terminate here in the fingers. So by touching the fingers, it's been proven that it'll make circuit, like little jump rings of circuit. And they do have some sort of effect. And if you don't believe in that, then know that just like having something to do with your hand gives you a place to focus, above that, the energy that's working. So we're going to work on just a couple. We're going to talk about what the fingers do to help you if you need to make up your own on the fly. So is everybody checking in? Good morning, Heather. Good morning, Susan. Good morning, David. You guys are in. So, mudras, hand placements to give you focus, concentration, and to energetically do something in the body. Typically done in meditation. Doesn't have to be. You can do them in some of your yoga postures because you're holding them still and you have your hands available. Obviously, if you're doing an arm support, that's not something that's going to work. But like in Warrior 1 or Warrior 2 where the arms are out, you could absolutely add them if you needed to. So let's talk about the palm. So in the palm, we have 5 elements, right? And so we're going to talk about what each one of these elements are. So this element, your pinky finger, it's water. And then this finger right here, your ring finger, that element is earth. Feeling grounded, feeling connected. This is space. Space is different than air. Space is that volume. It's a presence, right? So we know that you can have a room that has space that doesn't have air in it. So space. And it can be space like outer space, but inner space as well. Then this index finger, this is air. And the thumb is fire. So obviously if you're going to be touching like this, you're going to have 2 elements at least involved. And sometimes it's not the two elements that are touching that you're activating, it's the elements that are left up that are activating. So this a lot, and I'm only going to give you the things that you need. So like last week, we did 3 pranayamas. I know from practicing at least 20 that I practice, there's more than that. But you need to find what works for you. So we're going to add just a handful, no pun intended, of mudras that you can use at home with those 3 pranayamas that we did last week. So last week we did easy breathing. We did Durga breathing, the 3-part breath, and we did Ujjayi. And those are just ways to kind of help the mind be still. This can further the mind to be still. So the most common one that you see is the Gyan mudra. And you see that in mainstream, in pictures, even though they don't realize what that is. And it's this one. So it's not pushing, it's not down here, because as we begin to move down, each one of these changes that mudra a little bit. Or if you cover it over like this, that changes it. So all we're going to do is we're going to take that index finger and that thumb and we put them together, right? So this one is used most often. It's the go-to for concentration. It helps the mind really come in and focus. So if you're doing a nice focused breath, in addition to the hand placement, the mudra, Gyan mudra, this placement here, you're sitting up tall, really helps with your concentration. So when I talked about breathing last week, I gave you a tip about having your hands up versus your hands down. Now that's a legit tip, but it gets even more in depth for our mudra class. So last week we were talking about that if you're feeling just really warm to bursting, if you turn your palms up, will help change the temperature. It makes it where you can sit a little longer. And that's true. But when you're dealing with mudras and meditation, we have the fingers here, we have the palms up. This is receiving, right? We're opening to receiving. Maybe you're trying to search for an answer, you want to receive some sort of information, you're working through a problem. But if you want to self-reflect, you put the palms down. So you're cutting off the external and you're focusing on the internal. So that's the Gyan, G-Y-A-N mudra, right? So that's the first one that we're going to talk about. Good morning, Leah. Good morning, Mona. Who else is it? Janine. Janine, happy birthday, girl. Your birthday was yesterday, I think. All right. So you guys are checking in. Have a cup of coffee. That's a lot of stuff going on here. So that's one, right? This is going to be the first one we learn. Gyan, G-Y-A-N, mudra. And that's your first finger and your thumb. And it's just just grabbing like this. All right. The other one that we probably already know, I have lists of trying not to forget to tell you stuff. The other one that you see, again, in mainstream pictures and you probably don't even notice, and that's Dhyani Mudra. So it's this one here. And again, it's that same kind of thing. This is going to help you feel connected and rooted. And, you know, this one may be helping you with concentration, but you also kind of need to just be here, be present. So this is another option for you whenever you're doing meditation. So feeling that in. So I have my right hand, I set my left hand on top, and I just let the fingertips touch. And another thing too with the concentration is if you get comfortable whenever you're meditating, If you start to lose your posture, your thumbs will come apart and it breaks that connection. It helps you kind of stay focused here, really aware, feeling grounded. I mean, keep in mind too, this is down here near that first chakra too. You're feeling rooted, grounded, connected, concentration. So this one is spelled D-H-A-Y-A-N-I. No, D-H-Y-A-N-I. I get this back and forth. All right. Then the third one, there's 100 plus. But the third one, because I wanted to give you 3 mudras because we did 3 pranayamas last week. My most favorite one for breathing, when I'm going to do pranayama work and my hands are available, sometimes when you're using alternate nostril breathing, your hands aren't available, is prana mudra. Prana mudra is very good for activating dormant energy in the body, but it's also very good for breath work. So people who might have asthma or short of breath, it's kind of like the brown paper bag of mudras. So how does that one work? The ring finger and the pinky finger turn in, okay? And then the thumb holds them down at the nail bed. And you want to keep these fingers together, right? And it kind of looks like if you're from Greece or the Middle East, you're warding off the evil eye, but that's kind of not what's going on here. Both hands and breathe. A lot of times if you have a hard time breathing, if you just do this movement, really helps you open the airways, helps stimulate the energy that goes with the lungs. Nice work. So this is really kind of simple. And that's a lot to remember. You can always message me and I can send you a chart. You can rewatch this on YouTube, sharing coffee with me on Sundays. So let's try to use those 3. And then at the end, I'll show you one of my most favorite ones, which is the white lotus, which looks like this, when we do our closing. So what we're going to try to do is we're going to try to sit, do a little bit of breathing. Meditation happens, right? You can't make meditation. You can't come and sit on your cushion and say, I'm going to meditate. That's not how it works. You sit down and you create the environment that you hope that meditation will happen. So it's very much like going to sleep. When you go to sleep, you get your jammies on, you get in the bed, you turn on the TV, you turn off the TV, you turn down the air, you turn on the fan, whatever it is that you need, your ritual of doing sleep, right? But you can't remember that exact moment when you went from being awake to being asleep. Think about it right now while you're talking to me, right? Last night I went to sleep, I was tossing and turning, and then I woke up this morning, right? So that's kind of what happens in meditation too. You sit and you create that perfect environment for that connection of meditation to happen. That's what these mudras, the breath, the right sitting posture is doing for you. We're trying to make a really good environment. So we're going to practice those 3 mudras with just a couple of breaths so that you can kind of work them. You have an opportunity to ask me some questions before we get off, so that maybe you can practice them at home. Maybe this is something that you feel that you could do before you got out of bed to help start the day better. So let's start with the Gyan Mudra. Now remember, that's this one. First finger and thumb, just the tips touch. That matters, okay? We want to try to keep the fingers together. Don't let them spread out. We lose energy that way, so keep them in. And we're going to turn the palms up. Now remember, palms up is receptive mode. We're open for new ideas. And we're just going to breathe. We're going to do our easy breath. So remember, easy breathing. I'm going to close my eyes, kind of checking in. The easy breath is your normal breath. You observe it first. Then we're going to see if maybe, most people it's a double. So if you breathe in for 2 counts, you typically exhale for 4 counts. So notice that if you're inhaling for 1, 2, exhaling for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Depends on your body. So just notice if you're a double, full breath. And let's see if maybe we can inhale for 3 and exhale for 6. So let's try to inhale. 1, 2, 3. Pause. Exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. See if you can do that now 3 more times on your own. And then check back in with me. How'd that feel? Be aware of things that happen. When I do the Gyan Mudra, now there's a different Kundalini practice that I will do where I hold it like this for a really long time. When I do the Gyan Mudra, my palms always get really hot, especially my right hand. It even sweats. It gets clammy. It's crazy just by holding this mudra. Now, we just did receptive mode. I want you to practice those same 3 breaths that we were working on. 3 inhales, 6 exhales, but I want you to try to turn the palms down. We're still keeping those fingers together. And turn those hands down. Put those fingers together. Find your straight body. Check in with your body. Now see if we can do those breaths. One more breath. And release that out. Now keep in mind, I know that's a short period of time. I just want to be with you as you experience changes. Yes, Alicia, mine does the same thing. That tingling is that's that energy working in the hand. So I want to be able to share with you as you practice this. Now, keep in mind, meditation, you want to be, at least when you get started, 5 minutes. Ideally, 30 in the morning, 30 in the evening. If you have opportunity at lunchtime, that would be good too. But that gets to be a lot of a commitment, right? So even if you just start, and again, these are all tools. Because what will eventually happen is when you sit and you tell your mind that's what we're going to do, the body falls into it. It's just a tool to help you get where you need to go. It's kind of like running shoes and these kind of running clothes and these kind of things. We do it in the beginning to help us get motivated to run, but the running is what gets us ready to run, right? So just the sitting and doing the breath work and doing the meditation gets us ready for meditation, right? So we practiced that first one. So that was the Gyan Mudra. Really good for concentration. Up is receptive. Down is when you're doing self-reflection. All right, so the other one we talked about was the Prana Mudra. And so that's the two fingers here turned down. So that's the pinky finger and the ring finger. And you're going to cover the nail. And it's not peace fingers, right? We want the fingers together. And we're going to do it two different ways. We're going to do palm up, palm down. Same thing. So we're going to put the backs of the hands up. We're going to do that same breath again. So that's a 3 inhale, 6 exhale. I think everybody's lung capacity can handle that. Good morning, Joelle. So we're going to sit really tall, lift pelvic floor, pull navel in. That's just an activeness of feeling connected and rooted through Mulabandha, that bottom root chakra, Muladhara. So we're nice and tall, and we're just going to breathe. You may notice immediately that it feels like the lung and the airways are more receptive. Kind of like when you smell eucalyptus and it feels like, wow, mentholatum. That's just from changing the hand placement. Try again. Let's do 3 of these. Nice work. Checking back in. You can leave me in the comments if you're having any sensations if you want to. If you're just enjoying that meditation and don't want to do that, you can tell me at the end. So we're going to take those fingers. We're just going to turn them down now. Keep the fingers together though. And here, it's harder for me to breathe, but I feel stronger when I breathe. I feel like I'm pulling air through a wet washcloth. Like I have to really work to get it in, but I feel like my lungs get really strong and big. Let's try one more time. And release it out. Whew. That one's so much harder. All right. Now, the last one that we learned, there's not a opposite for this one. This was that Dhyani Mudra. So I have my right hand, and then my left hand goes in it. And we want the tips of the thumbs to touch. And we want to try to keep that connection of the thumb. So if you're meditating, you fall asleep or you lose your posture, they come apart, which helps you notice, right? And you'll put them back together. So a nice tall spine. I'd like to try to sit my wrists right in the crease of the leg. Kind of gives me a place to just sit them. Tall spine here. Let's do 3 sets of breaths. Nice work. That one I just zipped right on out. That one is very comfortable. That one I use when I want to sit for a really, really long time. I typically use the Guyane if I am agitated. You know, if I'm good and worked up about something, it helps me get rid of that. But what's really nice about the Guyane is that I can do that in my yoga practice. If I'm in Warrior 2, I can put those fingers together and do it and add it in. That's a lot of stuff. Ideally, when you're working with a teacher, you would get one and use it for a month or a week. You definitely wouldn't get 3 and then only do them for 3 breaths. So this is kind of like a sampler platter. And while we're at home in quarantine, it gives you a chance to kind of experiment and find out what works best for you. As you begin to experiment and meditate or practice breathing, you find that you may like to do it more in the morning. Some of you like to do it more before bed because it helps you sleep better. These are just to put some tools in your toolbox so that you have an opportunity to sit and be quiet and be with yourself. And that's hard. We find it easier to be with other people or stay busy so that we don't have to be alone with ourselves, which is rough. Because when there is no one else, the only person's left is yourself. And you should be friends with he or she. And this is a good way to do that. To find out the self and then know there's more to you than self. And then these meditation practices and these breath practices help you connect to that higher place than what's just you. So I'm getting ready to end our practice for today, our Easy Sundays. That's what I tried to do for you guys. My most favorite one, in conjunction with the meditation that we did 2 weeks ago, when you're trying to send out love and light, is the White Lotus. And that's where the pinkies go together, the thumbs go together, but you put the heels of the hands too. They don't sit open, right? And you open like this. And you put it in front of your heart. And this is just the thought of white light radiating from the heart, that unconditional love, that empowerment of love and light. And that's where, when I'm sending out that compassion and kindness and love to everyone else on this planet, this is the space that I like to do it from. So we'll end our practice together this way today if you choose. Again, heels of the hands, pinkies, thumbs. You put them together, put the hands at the heart. Nice tall spine, lengthening through the crown of the head. Really open, that's that White Lotus. Find your breath. Remind yourself of all the amazing things you have in your life to be thankful for. This puts you in that attitude of gratitude or in a state of appreciation. And then from that state of appreciation, we're going to send out love and kindness, compassion to others, everywhere. Every single person needs it, including yourself. Full breath, just thinking about pushing that love out to everyone else, including yourself. Going to end the practice here with an Om. If you're comfortable inhaling, bring those hands together at the heart center, bowing forward in respect. Namaste. Peace be with you. Go safely Thank you for joining me on your Sunday, letting me in your home every day. I'm so happy to be here. You give me a reason to get up, to function. And I love you from my house to your house. If you like the video, like it, share it, send it on to a friend that might like it. If it caused you to question, reach out to me. Hopefully we can work through that together. Now keep in mind it's a lot of info. You'll only use a little bit at a time. I really appreciate you letting me share what I know with you. Happy Sunday.